Hey guys, welcome to the Techpoint Africa Podcast. My name is Mado.
I'm Oluwanifemi.
I'm Chimgozri.
And Bulu.
Of course,
Emmanuel, can you say welcome again? Just pronounce it like a German.
Welcome. Why do you want me to pronounce it like a German?
No, you just did. That was what you did. I didn't hear woo.
Oh.
I heard something else. That it's
Yeah.
not welcome.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't sound like W.
Oh, so it's welcome.
Something like that.
Welcome to the house.
Okay, go to your country, people.
No problem. No problem. I will try. I mean, I will soon go back to my states. My country, rather.
Moscow.
Moscow in
Moscow for where?
It
Okay, so how was our week? How was
You mean the weekend?
weekend? Yes, how was the weekend?
was
I tried self-care this weekend. Did it work?
You
I
tried
can't
what?
say self-care.
Can you explain what that means?
Giving myself time to rest now.
Oh,
It didn't seem to work, but I think, well, in my mind, I revolted
Revolted against the self-care award.
against my normal, very busy weekend. So I was feeling guilty for it. So I don't know, maybe I feel guilty. I should enjoy myself. So
yeah, I had that same problem. I
yeah,
was feeling like I didn't do much during the weekend and I was feeling bad.
guilty.
Yeah, I was feeling miserable.
Wow.
Right? That feeling be like. Then you start convincing yourself like weekends are for rest. Okay, or rest.
I don't think
We
anyone
have a
can
lot of
convince.
things to do.
Capitalism 1, the two of you 0.
Yes, capitalism is this beast that keeps on taking for its workers, and you will see it in the workplace and the entire industries. I mean, you think of a company, let's say an MTN or an Airtel, and you wonder, okay, these guys have become so big.
What are they still looking for?
What are they still looking for? What do they need to do? They've already made it, right? So, yeah, it's.
Does anyone ever make it?
Does anyone ever make it?
As the Yoruba proverb will say, oh God, how do I translate this? What have I
Don't
done
worry,
to
say
myself? It's a trap. Money is not enough for the owner of money. Literally, that's the way it's if I want to transliterate it. Money is not enough for the owner of money.
Of course.
That's the way it's said. So
Anyway,
it just keeps giving or taking.
okay. In the news today,
It's MTN,
market share is not enough for MTN.
right?
They
They're
want
looking.
more.
Of course, they always want more because the market, you can't finish serving the market as the case is, right? Africa itself, it's a market that keeps giving, if that's the word. There's always more to take from the market. So MTN is reportedly in talks with Telkom, a fixed line telephone service in South Africa, to enter a $1 billion deal, right? If he pulls through, that means MTN will have access to their fiber assets, which will help them to be able to drive more of their 5G agenda in the country, right? And there are other bigger stuff at stake. If the deal goes through, that means MTN and Vodacom will get back to their duopoly that was once broken some like 1 decade ago, less than a decade ago. So the duopoly was broken then when Vodacom had a lot of money in his pockets, and they went higher than MTN, right? And earlier in the year too, I wonder what the two big companies are looking for with fixed, like they are like the Nitel of Nigeria, this Telkom.
Yeah, like
Right. I don't know why they are going after them, because in January, Vodacom also tried to enter a deal with Neotel to also tap into their fiber asset. So I'm curious what they are up to. If they are saying this will help them drive their 5G agenda, it sounds like it, but trying to acquire just to get a duopoly. But what's out that the government might not allow, right? Because the same way Nigerian government is also trying to break MTN's monopoly. Same with South African government, they are trying to not allow Vodacom and what's it called, MTN, to get the duopoly of the mobile telecommunication market. But by the way, I saw something interesting while I was reading about this story. I saw that what's it called, fixed telephone lines have, what's the word, they have a like more reliable call quality than mobile telephone.
Interesting. So they are like landlines.
Yes, the landlines. Yes, like they have reliable.
I guess they should
Call quality.
I don't
it
know.
Sounds believable, because when it is over the internet or wireless, there are a lot of disruptions that can come, that can go against it. But when it's wired, you know it is going to. It is really disrupted as much as wireless transmission is. But it's good to know that. Well, I learned something new.
Yeah. Everything wired is good.
Everything wired is good. You go back to the Stone Age.
It's sure banker. No, it's.
That's why I hate wireless charging.
No, wired is like you're sure what you're getting. It might be old-fashioned, but it works. And there's a very, very valid reason why huge companies like Google and Facebook
are going after them,
dropping wires across the ocean. They're basically wires. We're calling them fiber optic. It's basically
yes.
So that's an interesting one. And MTN, Telkom, it looks like an interesting space. I think I need to start monitoring the telecom space once more. I've missed them.
You have, yes.
And
yes, MTN and Globalcom. Then you do analysis on how their cost revenue is doing, how data that is winning this time or cost. It was interesting those years.
Yeah. It's quite interesting. And for Telkom, well, I don't know. It looks like they have this certain market share that either Vodacom or MTN are just looking to just grab up to be able
it's just for dominance.
What?
It's just for dominance.
Just for dominance. Well, let's leave that story for now, because there are some things I'm thinking about the whole dominance, duopoly, monopoly thing. But let's just leave it for now. I mean, Kenya has done something with Safaricom. Ghana did something with MTN. For Nigeria, I don't think Nigeria is serious enough for that to count. But yes, let's leave it for now. Let's go and pay homage to the people paying our house rent.
Hi, I'm Abisola Adenoga, the head of business at Techpoint Africa, and I'm here with good news. Did you know you could present yourself as a reputable brand leader? Did you know that your business could get the limelight it deserves? Now you do. Using Techpoint marketing tools, we can put you in the faces of a large audience for brand awareness and thought leadership. Begin your journey to generating leads for your business and getting instant feedback on your products and services. To know more, reach out by sending an email to business@techpoint.africa or click on the link in the description. Together, we can take your business to the next level.
Hey guys, welcome back. I moved to a dominant fintech player in Africa, a dominant fintech player. They announced last week that they've stopped their virtual dollar operations. And it's not just them, but several other fintechs also announced. So what's going on there?
Okay, so last Friday, Bata sent an email out to its users that they won't be able to access their virtual dollar cards. I think they give them up to July 17th. So
okay.
They won't be able to access their virtual dollar cards. They were asked to move their funds as quickly as possible so that they could still access it, but not through those virtual dollar cards. So it turns out that it wasn't just Bata that was doing that. A few other fintechs, Payday sent out a similar message. Busha sent out a similar message, and I think Eversend as well also did that. So
Busha also sent out.
Yeah.
Blockchain. I thought blockchain were not.
No, we'll
So,
get to that.
Everybody recollect.
Apparently, the reason for this is that so all of them are getting their virtual dollar cards. They have just one fintech providing this, Union 54, the Zambian fintech. So they are the ones providing this service for them. So,
Is it Zambian Zambia or Zambia not so Zambian?
I mean, yes. How many Zambians do you know? So yeah, they are the ones providing it, and it was, I mean, it cost a lot of let's say ripples, because we know how the dollar restriction has been over the last few years in Nigeria.
Virtual dollar cards have been saving people.
Yeah.
now.
So now, with those virtual dollar cards taken away, nothing is. I mean, people have to find a new alternative. Businesses, I think I saw a guy saying that they used barter to run their Facebook ads. They use it for a few other things. So like, businesses are going to be disrupted. People have to look for new alternatives and all. So
I wish I think of something like there's no time that something wants to happen.
Okay.
Like something very terrible or very something that will impact you negatively in the Nigerian tech ecosystem, that it will happen in isolation. It's either you are still trying to battle with one, another it's you. Right? I remember I wanted to buy, was it last month or like within the space of 30 days, I've been trying to buy something on an online store, and I couldn't use cards because they have exhausted the minimum $20 on them. And now I was actually looking forward to this month to use my card and other people's card so that I can be able to get all I want to get. But now this is coming. So you can't even drink water on one. One is coming at you. It's so sad and painful and frustrating. I was looking at my resting face today,
Really?
and I saw that I'm not smiling at all because it's because of issues like this.
So
You don't mean it.
I'm serious.
This is the part where I say I become a motivational speaker. Don't let the events around you affect your
It's
internal
just not
response.
working.
I don't know if it's motivational enough.
It's not working.
Anyway, so Union 54 is saying that, or sources are saying that one of the reasons for that, or one of the reasons why they've had to shutter their virtual card services. So they're giving 6 to 8 weeks when they like kind of a timeline for them to return. But well, that may not be enough. But they are saying one of the reasons is chargeback fraud, and chargeback fraud is basically, so you have a transaction conducted, or a merchant has a transaction. He sees that, okay, someone has paid, but then the person who supposedly paid now comes back and they're like, I didn't initiate this transaction. So you have to go normally before. So let me just use a very simple explanation. So let's say you're going home today and then you see a debit on your account.
Yeah.
What you usually do is, okay, I've not done any transaction recently, so you're going to your bank tomorrow morning to ask them. So your bank now has to first of all find out, okay, how was this transaction initiated, and were you actually the one that initiated it? So if you were the one that initiated it, then they have to, like, well, obviously, if you're the one that initiated it, they can't do anything. You're the one that did it. But if you're not, then they have to refund you. So that's like the chargeback. But apparently, a lot of people report that, okay, I didn't initiate this transaction. Even though they did. So now it's not so easy to say, okay, they are lying. It could also be that people got hold of their details and initiated transactions with their cards without their knowledge. So I mean, it's very, very difficult. So, based on that, the Union 54's account their services were flagged by MasterCard, which is a major service that they are plugging into in order to provide this service to the African fintechs. So Mastercard is saying that this is a lot of fraud cases that they are getting, that they've not gotten this much fraud cases. So what's funny to me now is some of the biggest fintechs on the continent are affected by this. I mean, Flutterwave is affected. The others are like younger, but I'm just wondering what were they doing before now? Because Union 54 just launched, I think, last year. So who were they using for those services before now?
Well, I think earlier this year or late last year, I'm not exactly sure when. I've been using Bata for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And Bata announced that, okay, they are switching their card partner.
Oh, okay.
And they will be disabling my old card. And the old card was a Visa card. And what they brought next was a MasterCard. So
different.
It's a different card provider they were using before. And I'm guessing my money is on Visa. And yes, my money is on Visa, and it's possible they might switch back to those guys, or maybe strike something new with MasterCard, right? So most of these fintechs probably were using one service or the other. But Union 54 came, the YC-backed startup, obviously, they have a very, very sweet story. And of course, obviously, probably a better service than...
And probably African supporting Africans.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So I think Union 54 probably had a very, very good service because, I mean, the time I was using Bata with the new card, I don't think I had any issues with the new card. But I think with the old card, it did not accept, this one, that one. So those kind of things will probably form the whole basis for moving to Union 54. So with their service probably out of the way now, they'll probably look for a different partner to work with. And yeah, those are really, really salient points to consider. Who are those possible partners that could be offering them that service? And some people are not affected. Mono's virtual card was not affected. Changera or Bitmama was not affected.
Yeah.
So who is their service provider? Those are the kind of questions that have been rolling around in my head right now. So yeah, it's quite cool stuff. And I think the companies in question raised the message they sent to a lot of people raised a lot of questions than it answered. Like, okay, what's happening? What's next? What am I supposed to do? Can I use dollar card? They didn't even say, restore the service shortly. I didn't see that in Bata.
Okay.
So the communication was not clear, and it could leave room to panic, which is why this week we're actually hosting the Temi Elevate 1.0 conference. Why am I saying Temi Elevate? Temi, please. Temi Elevate conference is going to look at the entire spectrum of communications, because it's very, very important. I mean, with that message that was sent over the weekend, if it's not handled properly, some of these companies could lose a lot of customers to somebody else. And of course, at this time, we've seen other startups who still have active virtual cards. We've seen them come up with messages that, our virtual card is still working, come here, all of that. So July 23rd, 2022, do not miss the Tema Elevate conference. It's going to be very, very important. You're covering everything from customer service to how you deliver the best communications to your client. So yes, just take note of that as we go on into the very, very, very heart of things. Like, I mean, we started from MTN looking to acquire. Now we've moved on to virtual dollar cards shutting down. It gets trickier from here, because on the news again, we're hearing that the Kenyan court has frozen 2 Nigerian companies' account.
Yeah, I mean, Nigerian fintechs can't even catch a break.
So from one past boost to another, and of course, Bolu, give us the news, but to guess what's from there too.
Like Emmanuel said, Kenyan authorities are frozen the accounts of 2 Nigerian companies, Korapay and Kandon Technologies, for allegedly laundering $51 million into Kenya. So that's about 6 billion Kenyan shillings, and in Nigerian money that's 31 billion. So they froze the accounts of these two Nigerian companies because there was a lawsuit filed by the Asset Recovery Agency. So they said that these companies are used by fraudsters to like perpetrate money laundering, a lot of fraudulent activities, and the Asset Recovery Agency is saying these companies made themselves available for these people to use them, to perpetrate these illicit acts. And then, well, according to a Kenyan newspaper, Standard, they are saying these companies are actually part of an international ring of fraudsters who have been using, Kenyan banks as conduits for illicit money, whose source cannot be established. So, in the case of the first company, that's Kandon. I hope that's the pronunciation. But in the case of Kandon, they are saying that they transacted 5.5 billion Kenyan shillings. That's about $2.3 million within 7 months. And then when they suspected that, okay, this might be money laundering, they said the company moved the money to other jurisdictions, and they left 15 million Kenyan shillings in the account. But Kandon is now saying they've known for the issue for a while, that they are also, taking legal actions to basically denying that there is some mago being done in their company. So in the case of Korapay, on the other hand, Korapay is saying the money Kenya is saying that that they learned that is just money for them to get their license. So
paid up capital requirements.
Exactly. So normally, according to the Central Bank of Kenya, to get that license to be a payment service provider, you need to deposit 5 million Kenyan shillings, another 20 million Kenyan shillings, which is 25 million Kenyan shillings in total. That's about $250,000. And then they said that was the only amount. And when you look at it, the what's it called? The ARA, the Asset Recovery Agency, is saying that they saw that they received 29.5 million Kenyan shillings in one transaction. And then this company is saying in that one transaction you are talking about is that money for our license, which is 25 million Kenyan shillings. So I guess the amount that is now unaccounted for, my math is bad. So 29.5 minus the 25 million. So if we are going to take
million short,
yes, if you are going to take their word for it, that means is this about 4 million Kenyan shillings that is unaccounted for. So, but the issue now is, how do we know that this money, is it possible that you try to get a license for something and then you do what, let's take Nigeria for example, you do what CBN says you should do, and CBN is saying,
why?
Where did you see this? It's like
I'm trying to get my license, man.
So it's not clear. Like a lot of things really need to be clear. Like, is it possible that you want to get license and the regulator is saying you are doing something wrong?
I think that I don't know. Is it that they are still trying to investigate, or
yes, investigations are still going on, but they froze the accounts in the meantime. The accounts will be frozen.
I think it's just basic practice when you're trying to investigate something, you freeze accounts, and
so they froze. And this issue again, it still links back to the charges Flutterwave in Kenya. I think last around July 7th, Flutterwave was charged of laundering money. There were fraud charges against them, and the ARA, the Asset Recovery Agency, is saying these issues are still linked to that same issues. So it's still the same. While these are two new companies that they are freezing their assets, it's still the same issue. So we understand where these companies are coming from in terms of their own comeback.
So I'm worried for fintechs in Africa. Right. I don't know.
For fintechs in Nigeria.
in Nigeria, right? I don't know if banks, traditional financial institutions have these issues, or they've just mastered the space that they stay clear of stuff that can implicate them. So maybe fintechs are just trying to try the waters.
I think,
and they're stepping on toes well at it, because maybe the wave is just coming at this particular moment. It's awkward.
Okay, so let's look at this this way. From the news Jim Gozem just gave, reasons why these dollar virtual cards are being suspended is MasterCard is saying we are seeing a lot of fraud issues. Our biggest, one of our biggest companies in the country, was our biggest fintechs in the company, on July 7th was charged for fraud. Now we're having 2 new companies being charged for fraud.
It's not just Nigeria though. I mean, Kenya froze the accounts of KiwiPay.
True. So
Kenya fintech.
Can we say, if we link these things together, can we say some African fintechs could maybe need to do something about knowing exactly who their users are and what their users are using these platforms for? It's probably something maybe I'm just speculating here, maybe in the need to drive users, get users, meet up with a lot of KPIs they've set for themselves. They've disregarded, some key issues, which
compliance,
is knowing who your users, really doing enough KYC. And aside from even doing KYC and knowing who these users are, knowing what exactly they are doing with your platform. Because again, we saw news. Okay, I don't know if we can.
We can
plug that in to Nigerian founders in the US that were recently charged with this same issue, where their users use their platforms for transactions that were illicit.
So it's looking like it's still murky waters for fintechs, right? And as it were, from what you said last, it's not just about African startups now.
Yeah,
these Nigerian founders have US companies, and they're falling into this trap. They've pleaded guilty. I can't remember how long they are going to serve for this crime. And I found something while I was reading up on this, that banks in the US are required to monitor their customers' transactions. I don't think it's only a US thing. I think every bank are supposed to monitor their customers' transactions.
If like 1 M drops into your account, they freeze it.
Exactly. And they are supposed to monitor it for evidence of potential misdeeds. They are supposed to flag it when money is being transferred in large amounts between 2 parties, which they can't explain. And they're supposed to find out and investigate what kind of business transaction warranted that transfer. So what they are supposed to do is the bank's internal investigators are supposed to see those types of accounts. If it's like very, very suspicious, they notify the Treasury Department, Financial Crimes, what's it called, the enforcement network. Like I think something that happened recently with Kuda Bank, where the law enforcement agencies were notified because of one account that was frozen. Say in Nigeria's case, the AFCC is contacted and informed that this transaction is suspicious, do something about it. And then the suspicious activity is taken up with the bank's risk managers. And if they can't find out a valid reason why the banks can't, if they find out after the transaction has taken place without the bank reporting it, then the bank becomes liable. So it brings me back to what I mentioned earlier. Is it that fintechs don't understand this part? They are we can't say they are banks, but they are in custody of people's money.
I don't think it's that they don't understand it.
Why are they ignoring it? They are liable. They know that they are liable.
Let's start with Kenya's case. I don't know why there are so many Nigerian startups, or at least so many Nigerian fintech startups.
Although, sorry, I have my reservations about the one of the US. Why should you pin it on Nigeria? They are Nigerian founders, so they have
Nobody is pinning it on Nigerians.
They are painting it like it's too. I don't know the coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
No, but it's a remittance startup now. They are sending money to Nigeria.
A lot of the money
came
to Nigeria.
Yeah.
A lot of the money.
You will soon round up.
So a lot of the money is coming to Nigeria. So that's why they were fingered. CEO, I think, is it CEO, COO, and even the IT manager / business developer or something like that. So the three of them are Nigerians. I mean, why won't you call Nigeria?
Go on.
Yeah, and they were to facilitate Nigerian prince camps.
Exactly. So in Kenya,
allegedly.
Well,
yes.
Allegedly, they've already been charged to court, or they've already been sentenced and pled guilty. So yeah. But for Kenya, it's too many Nigerian startups are getting involved, and a few people are insinuating that it could be politically motivated.
And the Kenyan one is alleged too.
Politically motivated? How? Let's use that to round up.
We don't have the full picture, but some people insinuate that it's politically motivated.
Yeah, even Kandon is saying they are being witch hunted.
Because I mean, look at Flutterwave's first statement. They actually said they insinuated as well that it was a politically motivated. Let's call it a witch hunt, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they don't.
From Kenya or from Nigeria?
Obviously, it was from Kenya because that's where they were accused, not Nigeria.
So why would they be witch hunted in Kenya?
I don't know, but that's actually how their statement came across. I think they've removed it, but yeah, that was it. So I don't think it's that they are not aware of all of this, but it could also be one.
But then if your hands are clean, you know, when with cases like this, when you know you can be sued for defamation of character, that's the word. I'm sorry if I'm making any learned goof.
Yeah, there is.
So there has to be something they're holding on to.
Yes, it could also be that they are maybe in a bid to really just do business and all. They are just overlooking some things. It's not that because I think they know what they are supposed to do. But it could just be that they are overlooking.
This is the arrogance of startups.
Exactly.
Yes. We have the money. We have the money.
Everything. Startups keep on telling you regulation will catch up with. But there's a reason regulation. It's not just because, it's always very easy to say that regulators don't understand your industry. It's always very easy. But what if it's not something they should rush? I mean, it's not as easy as putting together a pitch deck. They need to understand that this is how this thing functions. I mean, there's a lot of bureaucracy in government. You don't just wake up one morning, whip up a policy document, and then you have it. I don't know if anybody does it, but like it's one of the issues people have with governments. There's a whole lot that goes into making policy. So maybe we should slow down on the whole regulation, catching up with innovation stuff, and then
innovation should slow down.
It's not possible. The rest of the world is not waiting for you.
Yeah, the rest of the world is not waiting for you, but you keep on falling into trouble with these regulators because you can't outrun them.
They keep referencing guys like Google and Facebook, but the weird thing is those two and more, like Google, Facebook, Amazon, those guys, they were not working in heavily regulated space like finance. You're managing people's money and you're saying you want to leapfrog.
I mean, your actions could actually cripple an entire economy.
True though.
So imagine all the people who invest through all these startups, who send money to these startups, and one day they wake up, they tell them that the money they have is audio money. Like, do you know the kind of panic that you would just cause as a result of that?
I think we should just say what I would just want to leave founders with. Well, it's sweet to say because I'm not a founder, but then please, let's do the right thing. Let's just do the right thing. Yes, innovations are good. Solving problems are good. These are valid things you are addressing, but still, please don't let them say they told you. You guys, you are proud. You tech people, you are doing as if you have solution to all the problems of the world. Now, see you, please. It's a plea.
All right. if you are listening, even though you are a founder or not, do the right thing and share this podcast so everybody that can listen and should listen. Okay? Yes, and of course, you can also give us feedback on everything we've said today with the hashtag Techpoint Africa Podcast on Twitter. And you can email us directly with the email address podcast@techpoint.africa. And if you're listening to us for the first time, you can always get this podcast
on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Hyatt Radio, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcast.
All right, people. Now, stay safe and stay away from money laundering.
Bye.
Bye.